we are in Saint-Germain-en-Laye, just to the west of Paris, in Claude Debussy's birthplace. Debussy was born in this house in 1862, and he and his parents lived here for 2.5 years. The house is now a museum full of intriguing objects which tell us a great deal about Debussy's life and music. In fact, his parents owned a porcelain shop which was located downstairs. When Debussy was a student at the Paris Conservatoire, he had what I think of as the ideal, ultimate student holiday job. He travelled to Russia to the home of Madame von Meck, the fabulously wealthy patroness of Tchaikovsky. And these were the days before gramophone recordings, so he was the house pianist. He would play the piano for her entertainment. He also formed part of a piano trio in the house, and he taught some of her many children. For somebody like Debussy from a modest, lower middle class background who'd never had very much opportunity to travel, it must have been extraordinary. In later life, Debussy absolutely hated travel. He was very much someone who preferred to stay at home with his own company, focusing on his work. It's interesting to note, therefore, that he had this interest in Japanese and Chinese objects. It was as if he was travelling in his imagination rather than in reality. However, his friend Victor Ségalin did travel to China, and he brought back several objects, rather like the chimney piece that we can see in the Maison Claude Debussy here in Saint-Germain-en-Laye. Debussy clearly had extraordinary effects on women. His first serious girlfriend was called Gaby with the green eyes, as she was known, and he was with her at the time he composed the Prélude à l'après-midi d'un faune in the early 1890s. And when the relationship broke down, she tried to commit suicide by shooting herself. By a horrible coincidence, his first wife, Lily Texier, also tried to commit suicide by the same means, thankfully was not successful. On this wall of the museum we can see Debussy's two wives, and they seem to be looking at each other. His first wife, Lily Texier, was an attractive young woman, a model, but she didn't really have any serious artistic interests. Debussy left her in 1904 for the married woman, Emma Bardac, who had 2 children and was an excellent amateur singer. In fact, she'd previously had an affair with Gabriel Fauré, who wrote his song cycle La Bonne Chanson for her. Debussy and Emma Bardac eloped to Jersey, where he composed L'Île Joyeuse, his wonderful piano piece. And later, in 1905, they visited Eastbourne, where he composed most of La Mer. They married a few years later, much to the disapproval of her family, who cut her off. And they went to live in a rather grand house on Avenue de la Bois de Boulogne, which was well above Debussy's means. In order to maintain their lifestyle, Debussy became hugely in debt to his publisher, Durand. Though after his death in 1918, Emma Bardac suddenly became a rather astute businesswoman, selling various manuscripts to different locations all over the world. Many of these manuscripts have since been bought by the Bibliothèque Nationale, where they can be studied by researchers.